Good? Okay. Good evening. Good evening. I would like to welcome Pastor Jim Boyle with City Church, who will lead us in tonight's invocation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. I invite you to bow your heads. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this community and these leaders. I pray that you open our hearts and our minds so that your wisdom may descend upon us and that the decisions made here tonight represent the best judgment for this community. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I would like to call the regular meeting of the Milton City Council for Monday, October 20th, 2025 to order. The city encourages you to review tonight's agenda carefully. Each citizen who chooses to participate in public comment must complete a comment card and submit it to the city clerk prior to the agenda item being called. While the Milton rules allow a speaker to turn in their comment card up until the clerk calls the agenda item, once the agenda item is called, no more comment cards can be accepted. Will the city clerk please call the roll and make general announcements?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll be happy to call roll for the October 20th, 2025 regular meeting. I would like to remind those in attendance to please silence all cell phones at this time. As the mayor mentioned, if you would like to complete a public comment card, you must do so prior to that agenda item being called. All speakers will identify themselves with name, address, and/or organization before beginning their comment. If you have not submitted your cards, please do so now. The demonstration of any sort within the chamber is prohibited. Please refrain from any applause, cheering, booing, outburst, or dialogue with any person speaking. Anyone in violation may be asked to leave. Mayor and Council, as I call roll this evening, please confirm your attendance. Mayor Peyton Jamison.
Here.
Councilmember Andrea Veerhoff.
Here.
Councilmember Doug Haney.
Here.
Councilmember Juliette Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Jan Jacobus.
Present.
And Councilmember Phil Cranmer.
Here.
For the record, Councilmember Carol Cookley is not here. Mayor, you do have a quorum. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next is the approval of the meeting agenda. I would like to add an executive session to discuss personnel, land acquisition, and litigation. Do I have a motion on the meeting agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as proposed.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Cranmer and a second from Councilmember Johnson to approve the meeting agenda with the addition of the executive session. Please place your votes. Okay, that motion passes unanimously. Okay, next is general public comment. Do we have any general public comment?
We do, Mayor. We have one.
Okay, general public comment is a time for citizens to share information with the mayor and the city council and to provide input and opinions on any matter that is not scheduled for its own public hearing during today's meeting. Please remember this is not a time to engage the mayor or members of the city council in conversation. When your name is called, please come forward and speak into the microphone stating your name, address, and organization for the record. If you will please sound the first public
Mayor, I
comment.
invite Julie Zonner Bailey to the podium, please.
Good evening. My name is Julie Zonner Bailey, and I reside at 255 Hickory Flat Road, Milton, Georgia. I addressed the council and mayor a few weeks ago regarding large land lots, and I just wanted to follow up. I certainly appreciated the dialogue that you all had. You certainly had some good thoughts and continued to express areas that you wanted some additional detail on. So I'd like to just expand on some of my earlier comments and some of those that you made. I'd like to reiterate that the covered arenas that could be as large as 25,000 square feet by right seems a little large, and it seems that a special use permit should still be an appropriate way to go about determining where they are appropriate for location. Certainly they can be considered, but not every 10-acre parcel might be the appropriate location, because you could have a topography, right, of a 10-acre parcel that's higher than other 10-acre parcels. And suddenly that 25,000 square foot building, which is about the footprint of the baby Publix, that's a big footprint. If you had one 10-acre parcel surrounded by 3 other 10-acre parcels, you suddenly have 4 25,000 square foot covered arenas without any consideration by the council and mayor. So I think that there are some circumstances where allowing that by right may not be in the best interest of the totality of our community. And we just ask that you can continue to consider that. Certainly a special use permit has been, and I think could continue to be an appropriate way to place them where appropriate and to be able to consider those things that are unique to each parcel that would be up for consideration. I'd also like to comment on the allowing of accessory buildings by right on a 3-acre parcel or more. I think that Councilmember Cookerly made the point that a 3-acre parcel is no longer as unique as it used to be. And suddenly, with the size of homes that are being built, we suddenly could have the majority of a 3-acre parcel consumed by the home and now accessory buildings in front of those 3-acre parcel in their homes. So again, I just would ask the consideration be maybe perhaps not by right, because not every 3-acre parcel looks like another 3-acre parcel. And that leads me to the other consideration of how to define a large lot. I'm not so certain that a 3-acre parcel is really a large lot in the context of Milton, in particular when we have over 13 miles of gravel roads, which already require those lots to be 3 acres. So when we add a 3-acre parcel in considerations of by right sorts of things, I think we might be forgetting that we already provide a 3-acre minimum on a gravel road as one example. I also believe that there is some consideration to be given regarding businesses on 3-acre parcels or more. It does concern me that we would move away from a special use permit. It has served this community since 2006 well, sometimes better than others, but it's still a process that allows you as our elected officials to be able to weigh in. And I just think that the by right sometimes can present some unintended consequences that would be counter to what I think all of you have pledged and really believe in terms of preserving Milton. I ran out of my time last time to mention sidewalks to the Birmingham Park, and I certainly respect the 5 minutes. With regards to Hickory Flat Road, never had the master plan intended to have a sidewalk down Hickory Flat Road as access to the Birmingham Park. In fact, if you look at the Birmingham master plan, there was an access point that was shown in totality with the trail system around that master plan that would connect the Publix parking lot, if you would, straight across the street at 372, where there is land that touches 372. So I would just ask that as you think about the park and trails, et cetera, and we'll talk about the park later, but with regards to a sidewalk, even a gravel wide pathway down Hickory Flat would not be consistent with what the plan had been historically. We certainly want accessibility to that green space and to that 200-acre conserved easement, but bringing a sidewalk down Hickory Flat would be a little bit incongruous with what we expect on one of our more rural areas. Thank you so much for all you do every day. We really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, that concludes general public comment.
Okay, I will close the public comment period and I will we will now move on to consent agenda. Will the city clerk please sound the items?
Mayor, that first item is approval of the October 6, 2025 regular city council meeting minutes. It's agenda item number 25276. Our next item is approval of a project framework agreement by and between Georgia Department of Transportation and City of Milton for transportation facility improvements from Windward Parkway to Forsyth County line. It's agenda item number 25277. Our next item is approval of a Clearview AI renewal order form and price quote supplemented by addendum number 1 with Clearview AI for the purchase of a software as a service to be leveraged by the Milton Police Department in investigating allegations of criminal conduct within its jurisdiction. It's agenda item number 25278. Our next item is approval of a construction services agreement between the City of Milton and CMC Inc. for the Crabapple Multi-Use Trail Project. Agenda item number 25279. Next is approval of a professional services agreement between the City of Milton and Kimley Horn and Associates for the Milton Comprehensive Plan 5-year update. Agenda item number 25280. A next item is approval of a renewal contract agreement with addendum number 1 between the City of Milton and DocuSign Inc. for electronic signature and document signature. It's agenda item number 25281. Our final consent agenda item is approval of an order agreement and addendum number 1 between the City of Milton and Just FOIA Inc. to provide upgraded functionality and redaction services for open record searches and document management. It's agenda item number 25282. Mayor Jamison?
Thank you. Do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Haney, a second from Councilmember Verhoff to approve the consent agenda as read. Please place your votes. Okay, that motion is passed unanimously. Okay, we will now move on to reports and presentations. Will the city clerk please sound the first item?
Mayor, that reports and presentation item is a proclamation honoring Terry O'Brien for 3 decades of excellence in tennis instruction. Mayor Jameson?
Thank you. Terry, why don't you come up here and take my seat? Okay. I tell you, I was about to say it looked like from the packed room we would have a contentious zoning, but what we're doing is really honoring a great human being. So tonight I have the distinct privilege of recognizing an individual whose contributions to our community extend well beyond the boundaries of any court. For nearly 30 years, long before the city of Milton was officially established, Terry O'Brien has been a cornerstone of our local tennis community, dedicating himself to the instruction, mentorship, and development of individuals across all ages and skill levels. His name has become synonymous with tennis excellence in Milton, not only because of his remarkable coaching record, but because of the unwavering dedication and genuine care he shows to each and every player. This evening, it is both an honor and a pleasure to formally acknowledge and express our deepest gratitude to Coach Terry O'Brien for his outstanding service to the sport of tennis and his enduring impact on the people of Milton. And it is my pleasure to read this proclamation. Whereas Terry O'Brien has been the heart and soul of Milton's tennis community for essentially 3 decades, even before the city even existed. Whereas he thankfully settled locally in the mid-1990s at the courts off Dinsmore Road, once his 9-year professional stint on the ATP Tour ended. And whereas after then Milton Country Club closed and the city purchased the property, O'Brien kept coaching on the same courts that became the Milton Tennis Center at Milton City Park and Preserve. And whereas he has guided thousands of players from preschoolers through seniors, including then high schoolers who went on to excel in the collegiate and professional ranks. And whereas in the process, Terry has coached the most division title winners in the history of the Atlanta Lawn Tennis Association, or known as ALTO. And whereas he currently leads 14 ALTA and 6 USTA teams of various ages, skill, and competitive levels as programs coordinated through Milton Parks and Recreation, in addition to offering camps and lessons. And whereas O'Brien's impressive knowledge of tennis and adaptness at teaching is matched only by his extraordinary dedication to his players, including their development as athletes and people. And whereas Coach Terry has become beloved and admired by countless families who have seen firsthand how much he knows and cares. Now, therefore, we, the mayor and the city council of the city of Milton, celebrate Terry O'Brien and offer our sincere appreciation for all he has done for local tennis players in the Milton community at large over the last 30 years. And this is given under my hand and seal of the city of Milton, Georgia on this 20th day of October of 2025.
No, you go ahead. He's to go in the middle. Oh, no. Here, guys. Yep, perfect.
Now, everyone's welcome to stay if you want to listen to any fun stuff we have on the agenda, but as you can see, Terry, you're very loved. Thank you. Okay, there are no first presentation. We'll wait a little bit for them to come out. Let's see.
That means it was a football weekend.
Yeah.
Nice.
How's this house coming along?
He's in it now. Yeah, he's real happy. Real happy. It's a work in progress. Thank you for asking.
Do you know Leslie Hill? The one who just waved at me?
No, I don't.
She's awesome.
All right.
Very
Yeah.
nice, but that's right.
Been around for a long time. She lives in kind of the northwest part of Milton.
Okay.
She did a meet and greet for us in her neighborhood. Her husband and
Okay.
her have been on Young Life Committee for a long time.
Okay.
Okay, we have no first presentation, public hearing, zoning agenda, or unfinished business items. We will now move on to new business. Will the city clerk please sound the next item?
Mayor, that first new business item is consideration of a resolution to abandon right-of-way on a portion of Old Bullpen Road within Birmingham Park. It's agenda item number 25283. Our Public Works Director, Sarah Leaders.
There we go. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So this item is the final action item for abandoning a portion of Old Bullpen Road. So with this item, the end result will be considering a resolution to abandon a portion of it. I'll start with some review of the background that we talked about at the last council meeting and how it relates to the conservation easement area and then next steps in that whole conservation easement process. So the background, again, we went over this at the last meeting as well, but Georgia law allows municipalities to abandon roads that no longer serve substantial public purpose. And Old Bullpen Road used to serve a purpose to provide access to parcels that are now part of Birmingham Park. So it's no longer needed to provide that access or connectivity. On October 6th, a resolution was approved to initiate the process and determine that no public purpose for a road was served by this right-of-way. October 10th, we provided notice to the property that abuts the right-of-way to be abandoned. There's one piece that touches an adjoining property, so we provided notice per state law that requires that notice for abandonment. This was the graphic showed before also that shows just the condition of the right-of-way at a couple different points along the old Old Bullpen Road, as well as the trail system within the park. And how it relates to the conservation easement, this was the entire parcels in this area of the city that are owned by the city, with the black representing the old location of Old Bullpen Road. And what we're proposing for the conservation easement with the right-of-way ending where that conservation easement begins, so abandoning beyond the access to the equestrian lot. So this item will again finalize the abandonment of that right-of-way within the park and within the conservation easement area. We'll then be able to remove that from the survey so it no longer exists as right-of-way. At the same time, while we're finalizing the conservation easement language and terms with the comments that we had received at the last meeting, and then we'll be back before you to present those, and then finally consideration of the conservation easement. Any questions on this step in the process?
Any questions for Sarah? Do we have any public comment on this?
We do, Mayor. We have one.
Okay, please call the public comment.
I invite Julie Zoner Bailey to the podium.
Good evening again. My name remains Julie Zoner Bailey, and I still live at 255 Hickory Flat Road, Milton, Georgia. I wanted to take the opportunity, one, to support all the work that Sarah Leaders is doing and staff in evaluating the conservation easement. I certainly support the abandonment of the right-of-way of Old Bullpen because that's a necessary step. I also want to reiterate and applaud you yet again, perhaps not as loudly as the group just applauded that gentleman, but if they were still here, I'd like to applaud you with all of them here to say thank you for pursuing conservation easement. It truly can be a legacy for you and for all of us, and it's important. And with that, I'd like to just mention again that the importance of conserving as much of that land as we can. I know that right now there's a consideration of 22 acres being carved out. I'd ask you to please consider making that less of a carve out. Go walk a 22-acre parcel with nothing on it. It's a lot of land. And I hear that the discussion has been that there may be a need to carve out some of it so that you have it for future public works expansion. But 22 acres is a lot of expansion for public works. That starts to sound like and look like a dump. And I know that that wouldn't be the intention. And at some point, you can't still be on council because you run out of time to be on it, right? So it's really about thinking forward to what is your intention today so that in future years, when you're no longer able to make those decisions and to make the good decisions for the citizens, that that still remains in place. So I think it's really, really important if the intention is to preserve it forever, which I think is where you are going, is that let's preserve it forever. Let's not preserve it for our future arena. Let's not preserve it for so many trails in the future that it's not the quiet space that it is. But let's listen to those things that you've all talked about. And let's make sure that on this next revision, you have the opportunity to reduce it from 22 acres of carve out to something that maybe is a few acres. And then also, in addition to those few acres, add some language about what it cannot be. It can't be a dump. It can't be just anything. It can't be a dog park, as you talked about. It can't be pickleball courts. So just make sure that the language hopefully is legally binding. But that 22 acres, that's a big amount of land. The park that we bought, right, for active green space over off of Deerfield, that's 22 acres. It's a lot of land. It's too much land. Let's preserve it for green space. That's the intent. That's what it's to be for perpetuity. It's the largest contiguous green space that we have. It's why we have a green space bond. So we had $25 million that went to buying more. It's the biggest piece. Let's do it justice and really preserve it for the future. It doesn't need to contemplate future covered arenas, uncovered arenas, things that we can't think about. We don't want to have those things. Preserve it for perpetuity for green space. It's so important, and I just really appreciate the thought and the consideration that all of you have put towards that. And I want to say also, the comments that were made about too many trails sometimes is too many trails. I applaud that comment. If you carve it up so much that you no longer have the green space that people have come to love and enjoy, then we haven't really done what we intended to do. So just thank you for the thoughtful consideration, the continued dialogue, the additional questions. It matters, and this is meant to be for perpetuity, and it's meant to be in green space for perpetuity. So again, I thank you. Lots of applause. It's not as loud as the last 45 people, but you're greatly appreciated, and this one matters. It matters a great deal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, that concludes public comment for this item.
Okay, and do you have any questions for staff, council, on the new bullpen? No? Old bullpen. All right. With that, I will open it for a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve agenda item 25-283.
Second?
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Cranmer and a second from Councilmember Jacobus to approve agenda item number 25-283. Please place your votes. That motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Will you please stay on the next item?
Mayor, that next new business item is consideration of a resolution of the City of Milton authorizing a pre-application for a recreational trails program grant with the Department of Natural Resources to construct a restroom facility and trail improvements at Birmingham Park. It's agenda item number 25-284. Our Parks and Rec Director, Tom McElveen.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. For your consideration tonight is a resolution authorizing staff to submit a pre-application for the Federal Recreation Trails Program, or RTP grant. This is a first step to secure funding for enhancements at Birmingham Park, specifically a new restroom facility and trail infrastructure improvements. In this presentation, I'll go over background information on the grant, project details, financial impact, and staff's recommendations. I know there's a lot on this slide, but I'll hit the highlights. The RTP grant is a strong tool for us. It's a federally funded program flowing from the Federal Highway Administration and administered through Georgia Department of Natural Resources. Its purpose aligns quite well with Milton's values, supporting the development, maintenance, and enhancement of recreation trails. Restrooms are an eligible component under the category of trailhead facilities, provided the trailhead facilities are an integral part of the trail's use, which is exactly what we're looking at here. There are two financial points I do want to touch on. First, for our type of project, the non-motorized category, which includes the hiking and equestrian use at Birmingham Park, the maximum grant award is $200,000, which is what we'll be applying for. Secondly, the program requires a minimum 20% non-federal match, and I'll explain more how we have that match covered later. On this slide, it outlines a rough timeline for the grant. Our immediate priority is the application deadline of November 1st, 2025. Should we be invited to the second level phase, we'll spend several months preparing comprehensive documentation and detailed clarification of the project scope. The payoff would come in fall 2026 when the final grant award announcements are anticipated. Okay, let's look at the heart of this proposal. This project addresses some of the biggest immediate needs identified by park users, planning documents, and staff at Birmingham Park. These proposed park improvements have been supported through the Trail Prioritization Plan, a trail-focused planning document adopted in 2020, and by City Council in the Capital Improvement Plan discussions in the May 1st, 2023 regular council meeting. First is the restroom facility and parking. Birmingham Park is one of our city's premier trail destinations, bringing in both equestrian users and hikers. Yet we do not have a permanent restroom facility at the park. Providing a high-quality restroom directly addresses a consistent request from our residents. Imagine a facility similar to what you see at Providence Park. And it's pictured here on this slide, the exact same model. This restroom, combined with increased and improved trailhead parking, is essential to make the park more desirable and comfortable for users of all ages. Second is trail infrastructure improvements. Staff has identified some trail improvements that would help bolster our pre-application. On your screen, you can see some of these examples of trail improvements that we're considering including into this pre-application. Here you can see the financial impact of the project. Our total project cost estimate is $402,000. This covers the site work, prefabricated restroom, building, delivered and hooked up, the trail improvements, and some contingency. We're requesting the maximum $200,000 in grant funding, providing a city match of $202,000, easily exceeding that minimum 20% requirement, and receiving the most points available in this category in the pre-application scoring. The entire city match is covered by our Birmingham Park Capital Fund, which currently sits just under $1 million. By leveraging this RTP grant, we complete this roughly $400,000 project using just over $200,000 of capital funds. Staff is recommending approval of this resolution authorizing the submission of the pre-application. While council approval of this resolution will allow staff to apply for this grant, it's not committing council to accepting the grant or the grant's funding at this time. If the grant is ultimately awarded to the city, DNR will prepare what they call a project agreement to consider at a future date. To conclude, this project allows us to deliver a desired amenity, the restroom facility, while simultaneously addressing some trail improvements within the park. These additions will likely attract a new demographic to the park, much like the restroom and trail improvements did at Providence Park a few years back. When looking at alternatives, there are some options. We could fully fund the components of these projects solely with capital funding, or we could simply delay these improvements to a later date. Thanks, and I'm happy to take any questions you may have. Mayor?
I have one question, and I don't expect for you to know the answer tonight, but maybe for future. How, and for you and Steve, how does this impact if for future grants for properties that might be owned by a Georgia land trust? How does that work? You're smiling over there, Steve.
I'm not prepared to answer that question.
Okay.
So
That is, so this was the conversation we had about if the trust was, if it overlapped with the trust, what that impact would be.
Okay, well, when we do our draft conservation easement agreement, we will reserve the right for such improvements on the property.
It wasn't really
So-
the improvements, it's more with DNR, if we don't own the property, if it's owned by Georgia Land Trust, are they applying for the grant? I just,
So we still own the property.
okay.
It's just in there, it's just in trust. The question I think is this property of where the bathroom is going to be, is that on the area that, at least as of right now, is designated to go onto into the trust, or the part, at least right now, that it was designated for the public works expansion?
This would be it would be in with the trust. It would be on that property.
We'll get you, and instead of me guessing,
Yeah,
let
no,
me
good.
get you a correct answer.
Cool. And that'd be good for any other future things we do. All right. Any other questions from council?
Nope.
No? All right. With that, any public comment on this?
There are none, sir.
Okay, we'll open it for a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve agenda item 25-284.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Cranmer and a second from Councilmember Jacobus to approve agenda item number 25-284. Please place your votes. Okay. That's unanimous. Thank you, Tom.
Thanks.
Okay, if you'll please sound the next item.
Mayor, that final new business item is consideration of a resolution adopting the 2026 City of Milton City Council regular meeting and work session schedule. It's agenda item number 25285. Mayor and council, always as the city's commitment to be transparent, we like to make sure that the public knows when and how decisions are being made. And we do that by making sure we adopt this calendar ahead of time so people can plan for the full next year. With this, we are this annual process that we do, a resolution is being presented before you all tonight, showing you what the calendar dates for the city regular and work session council meetings will be for 2026. And if there's if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer it, or we can move right on into approval.
Any public comment on this?
There are none.
Okay, I'll close public comment and I'll open it for a motion.
Make a motion that we approve agenda item number 25-285.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilor Verhoff and a second from Councilor Jacobus to approve agenda item number 25-285. Please place your votes. Okay, that motion passes unanimously. Okay, we'll move on. Is council have anything to report on? Okay, hearing none, I will now ask for a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss personnel, land acquisition, and litigation. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to
Can we do
adjourn.
that electronic, Mayor?
Electronic, okay.
Make a motion to adjourn to executive session.
Second.
Okay, have a motion from Councilor Haney and a second from Councilor Johnson to adjourn in executive session. Please place your votes. That is unanimous. Aye. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Good night. Did you get all that, Dan?